What is up, guys? Another long time no talk. Man, I tell you, if you follow my channel, you might know that I was sick kind of like at the end of this past December into January, and bam, dude, I just got hit again. Like the last 2 weeks, I've been pretty gross. Same kind of deal, like not feeling super sick, but I sounded way too disgusting to make a video. I do hate some of you, but not enough to make you suffer through listening to that. So even still, I'm a little bit nasally, but much better. A lot of stuff I want to talk about. I've been addicted to the Elden Ring, just like many of you, I'm sure. I want to talk about that in a video. Arceus, I swear, guys, I'm going to do a video on that and give my in-depth thoughts about that before Scarlet and Violet come out, okay? At least before then, I promise you. But there is a new Nintendo hate train rolling on the tracks, and you know me, like that takes priority. I gotta jump on that. So yeah, I did want to make sure I touched on this topic that has kind of been the buzz the last week or so in the Nintendo community. The hotly anticipated, again, somewhat controversial Mario Kart 8 Deluxe DLC began its rollout last week, and many people, myself included, aren't very impressed with it. Now, if you're familiar with my thoughts on this whole thing when it was announced, I was pretty just meh on it from the jump. I think many people were way too hyped about it, being like, oh, this is basically adding a whole new game for $25. And I mean, I'm looking at it like, okay, it's old course. It's a lot of courses, but it's old courses. No new characters, no new items, no new mechanics. It doesn't sound like a whole lot of new to me, but I did think the value, 40 courses, whatever it is, for $25 was fine. So now we're actually getting these courses. They're starting to come out, and they're just not looking very good. There are a lot of very basic looking textures that could have really used sprucing up when they brought over. I noticed a lot of people pointing out like just, the grass on a lot of these levels just looking like a green blob on the ground. And it's like when you contrast that with what grass looks like in the other courses from Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, it's night and day. I do gotta say, I appreciate how a lot of these conversations did end up derailing into just talking about Wario's very juicy posterior. Like that was pretty funny. A lot of this stuff, if you just stop and look at it for a second, yeah, it's rough. Now, as always, you've got the defenders, the fanboys out in full force. Of course, the tried and true, I don't care about graphics, I'm not interested in visuals at all. It's always so funny when we talk about Nintendo games. I have this all the time happen with Pokemon games, how these people come out of the woodwork to talk about how they literally don't care at all about graphics. But when we make fun of something like, I don't know, Balan Wonderland, Cyberpunk's like N64 graphic issues when it launched, when other games come out and have graphics controversies, all of a sudden, these people disappear. You can't find them. Is it because they're on board when we make fun of other games? But for some reason, when it's Nintendo dropping the ball, all of a sudden, graphics don't matter, and you shouldn't even talk about graphics. Like, who even cares about graphics, guys? Come on. Actually, even better, these same people, they'll come out and talk about something like Kirby and the Forgotten Land, being like, oh, doesn't this look so good? Again, I'll be sitting here like, wait, I thought graphics didn't matter. I thought you didn't care at all about this. If you don't care about something, that means literally good or bad, it doesn't matter to you. Would you be saying that if like the foliage in that game was just a bunch of green blobs splattered all over the place? I don't know. It's just the hypocrisy with this stuff I just find so hilarious every time we get into it. And you can say, okay, that it doesn't bother you. Like if you admit the visual quality in this game isn't up to par with even just the rest of the game. I think that's one of the things that's so weird about this. It's like, you don't even have to compare this to a different game. You can compare the visuals of these courses to the courses in the same game, and they're not up to snuff. But yeah, if you want to just say, oh, well, I'm fine with it, go ahead. You're not even arguing against what people like me are saying at that point. You're agreeing basically and just saying, but I'm okay with it here. I can look past it in this instance, which that's me a lot of times too with certain games. So I totally get that. But to try and come out here and be like, oh, this stuff just absolutely doesn't matter to me, even in the slightest, like, come on, you're just being ridiculous. If all these games looked like they belonged on the PS1, you would have a problem, okay? I don't care how good the gameplay is. Like myself, I always say gameplay is the most important thing, but it just seems crazy to me to ever say, like, graphics just absolutely don't matter. Again, what if these levels weren't even polished up at all? What if it looked like you were just playing, like, on the N64 or Wii when you booted up these levels, like, no upgraded textures or anything at all? You wouldn't care? I mean, no, that's bullshit. Graphics, visuals, at least to me, they matter. They're not the most important thing, but in this case, it's definitely jarring. Because I see people also being like, oh, well, you know, you're cruising around these levels super fast, like, you know, you're not supposed to just sit there and stare at small details, more so the non-existent small details. There's no small details to be had. And yeah, that's true, but it's just jarring seeing this stuff, especially, again, when you have that contrast, even while you're playing these levels, like, say, your character, your driver, and their cart, going through these levels, it just, stuff doesn't even feel like it fits together. You know, like, if I was playing a straight-up Mario Kart 7 remaster, and everything was just kind of had minor touch-ups, and the character models and that just had some minor polish as well as the levels, I think that would honestly be better to look at instead of having these elements that seem like they belong in different games. Like, I went back and watched some footage of the older versions of these courses, you know, something like Coconut Mall actually being played on Wii, and it just looked not better, but more appealing because everything fits together. And even the course structure, some of the design, I like those escalators better on the original, you know, without the obnoxious arrows. The boost, like, at the end with the actual, like, moving cars and kind of, like, boosting through them all. Also, like, just design better. I would argue sometimes you're getting, like, worse versions of these courses. A lot of it just feels lifeless. Like, it looks like just a quick, rushed, like, HD up-res. And when you do it the simple, cheap, quick way, I mean, that's what you get. And even on top of that, some of the choices in general, like going with Choco Mountain from Mario Kart 64. It's like a brown dirt course littered with dead trees. I mean, was anyone clamoring for Chalky Mountain to make it into this game? Literally, was there a single person excited? Are any of you guys, let me know in the comments, are you excited? Like, man, I love playing on Choco Mountain. Like, I'd almost rather have, like, any Mario Kart 64 level. Not to mention, like, I also touched on, when you play other courses that were actually made for this game, Mario Kart 8, I gotta say, I haven't played Mario Kart 8 at all in a long time, like, at least a year. Man, it is still one of the best looking games on the Switch. And when you go back and forth between these new DLC tracks and the old ones, there's such a big difference. Again, normally we do these types of comparisons with different games. Like, you know, we'd be going, look at how much better this kart racer looks than this one, you know, this platformer versus this one. But we're talking about the same game. And that's just what makes it so weird. It's such like an odd situation you don't normally see. Like, such a drastic difference in quality between the visual quality of these levels in the same game. Just once more jarring, I think, is like the perfect word. And once you start to notice these things, it can be hard to just not focus on it, especially like if you are just playing random courses, like, say, you know, you're playing one of the DLC ones and then going and playing one of the original Mario Kart 8 courses, then back to a DLC. It's like, you're definitely going to notice a difference. And it's like, not only is this a big Nintendo game, people, this is literally the biggest Nintendo Switch game. #1 bestseller, something like 40 million copies sold, and it's still a port, don't forget, from the Wii U. So it's not like there isn't cash generated by this game that could have been used, reinvested in touching up these courses more to make them fit with the rest of this game. It's pure laziness. Like I said, some of these choices Nintendo makes, I just don't get it. You know, going on a bit of a tangent, they just recently dropped the latest Nintendo Switch update. The system just turned 5 years old, remember, at the beginning of this month, and Nintendo is touting how they added the ability to create groups for software. Folders, basically. Something that people have been asking for forever. Yeah, it's great to finally have it, but why the hell did it take 5 years for us to be able to create folders on the Switch? It's absolutely ridiculous It's weird, just some of these areas they decide to put the bare minimum in. And it just boggles my mind because, like I always say, like most of the time, like Nintendo games, it's like they're, to me, synonymous with quality, some of the best stuff. But then it's like they just make these weird choices with different things, and you're just like, what? Are you kidding me? Because again, like, yes, it would have taken more work to like really remake these levels, but it's not like it would have been that hard to do, and certainly it's not like they don't have the resources to do it. Now, I'm not 100% negative on this DLC, because there was actually one track I liked, Ninja Hideaway. I thought it was a solid course that actually looks really good. Like, this looked the most like it fit into Mario Kart 8. Now, I didn't recognize it playing it. Like, I was like, where's this course even from? Because I knew these were all like old courses from past games. And I look it up and I find out it's from Mario Kart Tour, the mobile game. Obviously, I don't play it. I played it for like a couple hours to make a video on it when it first came out, but never touched it again. I mean, I've got way too many real games to play. Don't have time for mobile trash. The cheap Nintendo IP cash-ins. Oh, ChiGuy, it's not all just cheap cash-ins. What about Dragalia Lost, the completely original mobile IP? Oh no. Yeah, so it kind of makes me almost extra mad that the thing I am going to praise about this DLC actually comes from a mobile game. But yeah, I actually really like that course. And it also makes me think about how much I hate this insanely long rollout for all the DLC. You know, it's set to wrap up at the end of next year, 2023. I feel like some of you guys don't realize how long that really is. I mean, think about how far away this Christmas 2022 feels. I mean, you probably won't have this whole thing complete wrapped up until next Christmas, 2023. But it's like, in terms of the quality of this pass, it's definitely going to be sort of a wait and see kind of thing. They could end up giving us more of these types of courses that look nicer. They could use all this time to work harder on bringing some of those older courses in, give them more shine, more polish to make them fit better. If that does happen, I'll say it'll make me wish they just took more time with everything and released it, you know, closer together, even if that meant later. Like, if we could have got this in a year and a half and had everything look amazing, I'd rather have that. But with that in mind, I'm still pretty just meh on this whole DLC deal as a whole. What they put out so far definitely feels lackluster. Again, this initial stuff could have just been rushed, though. So we'll have to see how the rest of it turns out. I definitely right now wouldn't recommend people run out and buy this, though. I doubt you're like that desperate for, you know, just a handful of courses. If I were you guys, because I wasn't even actually planning on buying this initially. Like, I was just kind of like, eh. Or again, I was gonna wait and see like how it all turned out, but I started hearing all this, you know, so many people talking about it. I'm like, okay, I gotta get on it, play it myself so I can cover it. But maybe it will like start getting better, and you know, by the time we get to the end, you've actually got a lot of solid courses here, and it'll feel like a solid purchase. Because again, I have admitted, you know, from day one, even though I don't think there's that much going on here, I don't think it's that exciting. I think the value, you know, what you're paying for what you're getting, if the courses are good, is solid. Like, I think it makes sense. Would I rather have Mario Kart 9? Absolutely. But at this point, I understand they're probably holding off on something like that until their next system. My thoughts on this overall aren't really super changed. I'm definitely disappointed in what I've played so far, but I admit it could end up getting better and the overall package could end up being solid still, but we'll have to wait and see. Wait almost 2 years to see. Anyway, with that, this video's a wrap. I'm going to cut myself off here. Let me know your thoughts on the start of the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe DLC in the comments. Have you played it yourself? What do you think about it? Do you think it feels lazy? And do you think things will improve with the upcoming courses? As always, I'm the Shy Guy, Johnny Zakari, and thanks for watching.